Hello, America. My name is Mark, and I am a concerned citizen of the United States. I have not made this video because I don't have the tech skills, I don't like using computers, but here I am about to talk about a subject that I've been talking about with close friends for a long time. And now it has made it into more of a mainstream conversation. The subject is, what do we do if Donald Trump does not leave the White House if he loses a legitimate election? I've been talking about this for 9 months to a year or so, and a lot of people say, oh, that's not going to happen. And a lot of people think that the United States has so many checks and balances that something such as that can't happen. It just can't possibly happen in the U.S. However, the danger in any society is to believe that that sort of thing is impossible. But Donald Trump has made it more and more possible throughout his presidency. He has actually done so much damage in the past 4 years, hollowing out the government so that he can possibly do enough damage and try to remain in power. So the problem is him staying in office if the American people vote him out, and the solution, I believe, is is going to be for the military and for the judicial system. So judges, including the Supreme Court. So the message is for you. This message is for the U.S. military and for the judges that may rule in this case. Um, Now, this video. This is gonna be a little bit off the cuff, but it's formatted in the following way. So basically, the problem, the short term solution, and then perhaps the long term solution. So, my case that Donald Trump is already an authoritarian leader is as follows. Okay, so first, um, what shocked me most was years ago when Donald Trump ousted James Comey. Now, that is something that an authoritarian leader may do. Someone's investigating me. I am going to remove them. That's what I'm going to do. I'm going to remove them. Another thing that he's been doing over the past 4 years is discrediting the media. This is something that happens in totalitarian regimes in countries that are not known as for their freedom. Uh, Trump has said that the media is the enemy of the people. Stalin also was somebody who said that the media is the enemy of the people. Now let's look at what the media really is. The media is the one thing that's supposed to bring people information so that they don't get their information solely from the government, because the government has an incentive to report what they want to report, and the media is supposed to go out there, find the facts, and report them. This is why media sources want to protect their reputations. They want to make sure that the facts are there. Facts used to matter; they still do matter. However, over the past 4 years, it seems that facts have become less and less important to a lot of Americans. That's a problem. So that's the importance of the media: is someone going out there and checking the government on what they say and what they do, as well as all kinds of other world affairs. Um, Another thing that Trump does as far as dictatorship is voter suppression. He is basically saying that the election is rigged if he doesn't win. That in itself is a rigging in his own favor. If I don't win, then it's rigged. If I win, I accept the results. If I lose, then it's rigged. He's already planted the seeds of this being a rigged election if he doesn't win. He has appointed people in high positions such as DeJoy to make sure that mail is more in his control. Um, He has told his supporters to go intimidate people at the polls. So let's say you're a Latino voter, and you look like you might not be. You're not supposed to be in this country. Someone may come harass you. So legitimate voters may be scared of going to the polls on November 3rd. There are a lot of attempts at voter suppression. Those are just a couple examples. Um, Threatening to jail his political rivals. That is something that happens in countries with authoritarian rulers, and not based on evidence, but rather, I don't like this person. They are a threat to my power. I want them in jail. That is a problem. He's done that with Hillary Clinton. He's done that now with Biden. He's done that with Barack Obama. This is something that happens in authoritarian countries. Um, Making all forms of government an extension of himself. Now, I already mentioned DeJoy. However, look at Bill Barr, the Department of Justice. This is supposed to be completely free of the executive branch because no one is above the law, including the president. However, he has turned it into, Bill Barr is to investigate and prosecute those he does not like, and he is to let free those that he does like. That is not normal. That is not supposed to happen in the United States of America. That is dangerous. Um, so these are a few examples. I'm running low on space. I had to delete some files on my computer. I'm not a techie. This is the reason why I haven't made a video, and I think I only have 6 minutes left. I'm not going to waste too much time on my technological shortcomings. All right, so we have this moves on to why I believe it's very likely. One, he's telegraphed as much. He said that he's going. If he loses the election, he's just the results aren't real. He's he's also embraced QAnon theory, which our QAnon is something where you believe something through hearsay. There's no evidence. There's no facts. People who believe the things coming from QAnon, they talk with each other, and that is their source. Now that doesn't make any sense, and a lot of what they believe is just absolutely insane. I had a friend who told me that their friend believed, for instance, that there is a bunker under every single Walmart in the world. And in those bunkers, scientists are harvesting the blood of Chinese children in order to make serums for the top 1% of Democrats. Now look at how insane that is. There's no evidence. There's nothing. True journalism wasn't there to check the facts on that. Now let's just look at that for a second. The construction of all of these bunkers, the scientists working there, all the employees at Walmart. No one has exposed any real evidence of this happening. Oh well, it's so deep. It's so part of the deep state that they keep this covered. This is insane. But enough on that for right now. Basically, um, his disinformation is part of what makes it possible for him to deny results. Let's also take a look at his record. He has broken the law, and our checks and balances have not stopped him from doing what he does. So, violating campaign finance laws, he's gotten away with it. Using government buildings to host events, he's gotten away with it. Uh, the Senate, the Congress being the check and balance, the judge and jury of the president. That's what we don't put a president in front of a you know 12 citizens of the U.S. The Congress is the judge and jury for the president, and there was an impeachment, and that no Republican thought that it was inappropriate to withhold taxpayer dollars to Ukraine, um, in exchange for dirt on his political opponent. He says that he was worried about Ukrainian corruption. However, the Ukrainian corruption that he was concerned about, the one thing that he was concerned about, happened to have to do with his main political rival. I don't buy that, and I don't think anyone else really should buy that. Just so take a look at his track record as far as breaking the law as the president, as far as breaking the law as a civilian before he was president. This guy breaks the law all the time. Now, I know that his supporters say they're always trying to get Trump, they're always trying to get him. You have not considered that this man is literally always breaking the law. That's why there's always a scandal. Not because the Democrats are always after him. Yes, a lot of Democrats would like to see him removed, but he is constantly breaking the law. Now, I do want to say that I am not a Democrat nor Republican, and I would not condone this from either party, Democrat or Republican. It just so happens that this guy is running as a Republican. He's not a traditional Republican, he's not a conservative, but either party, I would call this out. Now, I want to say, because some people are probably thinking, oh, he's the deep state. This guy on video, he's the deep state, because some people, if it goes against their belief system, that's what they go to. It's the deep state. And the deep state, for instance, people who believe in this, there's the deep state. These conspiracy theories have a built-in defense mechanism, in that anything that goes against it, automatically that's anyone who tries to call attention to the lack of facts, things like that, already boom. Okay, see right there, that's the deep state. So you know the checks and balances have failed. That is, he's broken the law. Uh, and the last thing, or the last check and balance is voting. So voting. So going out every once in a while, the American people can turn the page on a president. Every 4 years, people can turn the page. That's our way of removing someone we don't like. So now, if the majority of people vote him out, um, then he has to leave office. He needs to leave. Now, right now, we have the Electoral College. And so, yeah, the Electoral College is a system in which somebody can lose the popular vote and win the Electoral College. Debating the Electoral College, we're 2 weeks out from the election right now, so we're not going to talk about that right now. But within the current law, which is if you win the Electoral College, or if you lose the Electoral College, you have to give over power to the person who won it. Now, if that does not happen, because all of the checks and balances have failed, I am asking the judges of this country and the military of this country to say, sir, you need to leave. Now, if he wins legitimately, okay, he wins legitimately, and that's what if that's what most Americans want. I believe it's scary, but if that's what most Americans want, then so be it. Now, the other side has to agree to that too. If Republicans lose, then they have to accept that most people would prefer Democratic policy. Now, both sides believe that they are doing what is right for the country. So, Republicans who believe in this crazy conspiracy stuff, they're not bad people. They just, they have bought into to things that are not based in fact, and they are confirmed by other people on the internet, and it seems plausible. If ever there was a time for policy for better education in this country, maybe free college and things like that to build better critical thinking skills. Now, they're well-educated people who somehow get sucked into this too. But in general, teaching history, civics, critical thinking, these things are important to a democracy because, to have people who can actually kind of filter for themselves. Freedom of speech is great, but being able to filter for yourself and having a population that filters for itself uh, information, that's a very important thing. So for the military, if he loses and it is clear that he loses, it's best that you say, sir, you got to step down. If it goes to the judges, you need to uphold, you swore an oath to the Constitution, all of them. The military, the judges, the Secret Service, you all swore an oath not to one man, but the Constitution. So judges too, if Trump tries to say, hey, I won for X, Y, or Z reason, you got to say no. no, no, and that includes the Supreme Court. Um, and people want to talk about the stacking of the court. It just so happens Trump has been able to replace three Supreme Court justices. I'm not arguing the law on that, but if for some reason he's put in there judges, and regardless of who puts you in, you've got to think about what is best for the United States, and democracy is at the core of that. Now, like I was saying, both sides wanting what's best for America. Trump supporters really believe the Democrats want to turn this place into Venezuela because Trump says stuff like that. He says that we're basically going to become something like Venezuela and everything is going to rot. We've had Democrats before, and that has not happened. One thing I want to say is that a lot of people um, do not differentiate between the monetary system and form of government. So a lot of people associate socialism with an authoritarian ruler. Now, the form of government and our and monetary system, they're not the same thing. There are socialist countries, quote socialist countries that have very good livelihoods. The Scandinavian countries are a good example of that. So yes, there are some countries that do not do so well, and socialism are a lot of time they're associated with Nazism and Stalin's Russia and things like that. But they're just not the same thing. Socialism and capitalism are not synonymous with either totalitarian rule or complete libertarianism. Separate issues. So keep that in mind. Both sides want what is right, good for America. Trump supporters believe that if we become a socialist country, we're going to fall apart and everything's going to be terrible. And there are a lot of people on both sides of the aisle that see the threat of democracy being the biggest issue. Our form of government, not our monetary system, not socialism versus capitalism, but democracy versus an authoritarian ruler. That's what I'm talking about right here. That's the bedrock is democracy. So if Trump loses, he's got to go. That's the threat, and I would tell the Trump supporters that's a bigger threat than socialism. As a side note, Democrats also they don't want to be socialist. High taxes are not taxes. For instance, first of all, the current candidate wants to raise taxes on people who are high earners. Not just taxes are this dirty word in the Republican Party. But taxes, for instance, in the 1950s, the tax code was much higher, and people still flourished. There's still a ruling class. The government didn't own your property or your business, and the Democratic Party does not want to own your property. Taxes do not mean that you've become a socialist government. It just means that there are going to be certain taxes so that those things can pay for education and roads and things like that. Now, as a historical fact, uh, the Article of Confederation, that our founders, our beginning founders, they didn't want any taxes at all because coming from escaping from the English rulers, they hated taxes so much that they originally didn't want any taxes. However, they quickly found out that, if we can't collect any revenue, we can't do anything to actually govern, build these roads, have schools, things like that. So that's important to understand that taxes do actually pay for your libraries, your public schools, things that people aren't going to just donate to. Everyone believes that we need these things, but if you go out and say, hey, can we rely on donations for all of this? Give me a break. No. In a country of 320 million people, no, you can't just ask, oh, well, we all need bridges and roads. Would you donate for them? What if everyone says no? We just don't have any bridges or roads. So taxes play a role. Um, so both sides want what is best, but there's a clash here, and uh, there is a dangerous thing coming up here with this election, and that is that if Donald Trump denies the results, he's got a big playbook. I've heard a lot of people say, well, it's going to be a legal issue, and other people say it's going to be this. He's got a playbook that is filled to the brim. He can deny the results. He can delay. He can suppress information. He can try to send it to the courts. God forbid he could call on his militias that he basically has given a wink and a nod to, say, hey, you know what? Because that's the way he talks. He doesn't say go out and cause havoc. He just says something that implies something on Twitter. This matters. This sort of thing matters. That's why, if he loses, I'm asking the military and courts to step in the right way for the sake of democracy. Um, Now, I believe I'm running low on space here, but I do just want to close with the fact that people have been sounding the alarms on this, and we have been so desensitized by everything that we're not paying attention sometimes. Now, for the military, for example, Alex Vindman came out against Trump. He even said, "Don't worry, Dad. This is the United States. I'll be okay for telling the truth." And he was punished. That's what authoritarian leaders do. They punish their political rivals. And if Donald Trump had more power, he'd likely put more people in jail. I don't know if that's pending over the next 4 years. I don't think he would leave office in 4 years either. And if he's well enough, he'll find a way to stay in. Now, the difference between what I'm saying and a conspiracy theory is I have time on my side I don't have a crystal ball, but I do have time on my side, and I know enough about patterns, human behavioral patterns, to see a danger here. So we'll see what plays out, and I hope that this video, if it may not be relevant right now or on January 20th during the inauguration, but at some point it may be determined that this guy is an authoritarian ruler, and if the political system can't remove him, we need people of good faith to do it for us. Hopefully, the election will do it for us, but maybe not. So here's the question: are we going to believe those that are sounding the alarm? Mueller found obstruction, couldn't find collusion, and maybe he was in cahoots with the Russians, and maybe not. No, nothing was proven. There is a fact that did happen, though. The Russians meddled in our election. Donald Trump doesn't like to talk about it because it does not go along with his narrative. He doesn't want people to believe that he lost the election. But he'll use it in this next election. He'll say, "Oh well, if I lost, China meddled, and they wanted Biden." That's another way that he'll get around. But are we going to believe Mueller, Fauci, Vindman, and Bob Woodward? Or are we going to believe Donald Trump when he says they're all loonies, they're liars, they're crazy? We're talking about war heroes, scientists. Bob Woodward, probably the most famous journalist in American history for exposing a president. If that journalism wasn't there, then Nixon may have gotten away with meddling in his own election and covering it up. So this is very important. Who are we going to believe? The person who is a chronic liar or American heroes? So please, American heroes, stand up for what's right if need be, because the election is supposed to be the check on a president, and if it is not, and we lose our power because we aren't able to vote a president out, please stand up either legally or peacefully as possible. Remove this man, but forcibly if necessary. Donald Trump, I'm not inside his head, but as somebody who studies psychology in traditional ways, and as we all do through observation, it certainly seems like Donald Trump is not leaving without a fight. This guy does not relinquish power. He just doesn't do it. So that's my message. So the message is for the military and the judges. It's not necessarily for the American voter because everyone's in their camp, either Democrat or Republican. I don't expect to change any minds 2 weeks out from the election. However, I hope that this video may have influenced you in some way. And so I think that's about 25 minutes on the nose. Thank you very much for listening, America. Over and out.